everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. Coleus. Summer is moving right along. It's not summer yet. I'm going to show you just how magnificent everything really looks, how really beautiful the Coleus are coming along. And I'm going to go over, I potted a whole bunch of Coleus the past week or so. Ever since the my last video, I potted a whole bunch of Coleus. I actually went to the dollar store. I thought I had enough. Picked up a few more smaller, and I ordered 4 or 5 hanging baskets because even though they're not, I had mentioned in my last video, they didn't really sell well. I still like to make them up. Worst case, I have them at my house here. I usually hang them around. Once I do pot my hanging baskets, I'll keep them in the greenhouse for a little while, but I like to leave them outside because that's really how it goes. I try to, once, you know, when I initially pot my Coleus, I keep them in the greenhouse. I let them get set, get the roots set in. Then slowly, once they start getting, I don't think I have one out here, once they start getting pretty set where I know they're rooted well, then I'll bring them outside, harden them. Again, going back to hardening, which is getting them used to being outdoors. Absolutely no danger of frost anymore, but I like to get them outside into the elements, especially those rainy days or rainy evenings, the humid, repulsive, oppressive, humid nights or whatever that we get here in New Jersey. As I'm sure if you're in a humid area, you know what I'm talking about. But those I found over my experience is what really kickstarts the Coleus, really gets them to be huge, like just mammoth, beautiful, like show-stopping. People just stop and like, wow, look at that. That's how I get my Coleus that big. I really pay attention to them, and I'm going to do a few things here to show you really at this stage where we're at. If you're following along and you're about at this stage, what I do, because I'm one person, I don't have a staff. If I had 2 or 3 people working with me, then I could probably keep on top of this a little better, but I have it down in a pretty good system. Again, if you're following along, when I plant these, I kind of spread them out. And also some Coleus grow a little faster and larger and leggier than others. It depends on the plant. There's so much to that. But I go with it. I have a system where I keep on top of it best I can. And I'm going to show you today some of the Coleus and what I try to organize, how I, as one person, keep on top of this without going mad and get my beautiful pots going. I'm going to show you my pots. They're just magnificent, especially the mixed Terrania, beautiful mix of Terranias and Coleus, and just all of the Coleus, the beautiful colors that I have. Really, really nice, and I'm really, really excited about this year's farmers market. I think we're gonna sell out, I think, this year, no problem. And it's really good because I like to donate. Again, if you're following along, I like to donate money to all the different organizations and so forth. And it's a good feeling to know that I'm doing something for some people who really deserve it. You know, every time I go out to eat with my family, or I get to go to the movies, or I get to do something fun, go to the beach, pool, relax, I do so because of people who maybe have served this country, who maybe paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom that I try not to take advantage of. So that's why you'll see on my Instagram channel, I'm always posting a donation drive. So every single month, whether it's my YouTube, my Instagram, my farmers market sales, or my eBay seeds, I'm always constantly giving to those organizations. So, okay, so let's get going. Again, at this point, I'm going to show you where I'm at, the trimming that I'm doing, how I determine what to trim. This is what I'm starting to use now. Well, I suggest Miracle Grow really is best. It's easy to get. This is the water soluble powder. Very easy instructions. You can use different ways. Now, I like to use this. This has the container. When you buy one of these, it comes with the Miracle Grow in it already. It's general purpose plant food. Use the general purpose. You don't want to use vegetable food. You don't want to use flour food. You want to use general purpose plant food. Coleus don't need a lot of fertilizer, but it makes a difference if you do use it. So I like to use this. If you don't have a hose that can drag out to where your plants are, like one of my hoses just went on me, so I have to go get another one. So what I did is I still use this, but I'll fill up my 2-gallon water can with it. So you get a nice mixture. And that's another thing too. Maybe you're not sure if you're mixing it correctly. This meters it correctly. You get a good mixture, and it really makes a big difference. So I just gave all of my Coleus a good drink, including the ones in my greenhouse. And about every 10 days, 14 days, I'll use this stuff, and it really makes a difference. So, okay, here's a few I just put outside for now. Here's the Terranias. If you're not sure, that's what I was telling you, how beautiful, little delicate bell-shaped flowers. The wishbone Terranias, I have the blue, and I bought some mixed ones, which I haven't seen blossom yet, but they're multicolor. I guess they're going to be red, yellow, blue. So I mixed one of those with a few Coleus. And here's another nice planter. I mentioned it has like a little leather strap. Nice yellow. Hoping that maybe this is a mixed Terrania. And just threw a couple of Coleus in here. So we'll let me sit outside because the Terranias really like sun. So making sure they get a good shot of sun. And there's a little, and again you can see I trimmed it. You got that growth coming in. Trim these early on, trim them. It's still early yet. It's worth it. The sacrifice, you know, you can even argue this here. See how this leaf is kind of leaning over towards here. It's good to maybe snip that. Cut that and let that bottom growth come in until it fills in. Then you can start to organize it and trim it and maintain it to where you want. You get some of these down on the bottom you can trim until it fills in, and it will fill in. Trimming will stimulate the growth. If you just let this sit, yeah, it'll fill in, but if you start trimming these now, it's going to stimulate and you'll get a faster, fuller Coleus, more beautiful. See that one is kind of hanging down. So it's getting kind of leggy. So I'm going to trim that very top. Yeah, right there. I'm going to actually trim that off. There we go. I know it hurts, but it's a necessary evil, and it'll pay off. It really will. This here too, and this one here I'll remove. All right. So I know we're just in here not too long ago, but I'm telling you, we've had some beautiful weather. And it really makes a difference. Keeping it nice and moist in here. Not too saturated. I don't like to be saturated, but I'm making sure that these are watered and fed. But you can see. And again, it's a lot of work for one person. Got that growth coming in. So we're gonna get these, as much as I hate to do it. Oh my God, I don't want to do that. I really don't, but I have to. Because it's, by cutting these two, it's gonna really boost the speed at which those fill in. Now, if this is your plant and your home, you don't have to do that. I'm doing it because I'm going to start selling these at the end of the month. So I want to get these nice and full, ready to go. You can see here, I already trimmed. I have these two here. I'm on the fence on trimming these because I trimmed the two larger ones. But you can see I got that growth coming in. So I'm on the fence on trimming these. I know it has to get done. It takes a little bit of courage to do this stuff, you know. I know I just went over these. I'm not going to spend too much time on these hangers. Again, Capistrano Gardener, thank you very much for donating pots, sending me pots, and I really appreciate it. Here you are, Capistrano Gardener, thank you. I have them. I didn't put the hangers on these yet, but we just potted these yesterday, or day before yesterday rather. I do a little every day. Again, I try to get the colors mixing in. There's a Saturn, a nice yellow, a red. Casualty. Okay, so am I upset? Yes and no. Is this plant done for? No. We just need to pick up the pieces like Humpty Dumpty and put them back together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back in here, and we'll pack up some soil, fill it in nice, give it a little water, and it'll be fine. There's a little bit of a trauma, but it'll be fine. And this is what happens in here sometimes. It gets a little crazy in here. I try to keep these racks are handy, but they're terrible for these pots. So that's why I try to use those trays. Another reason why I've used the trays. And another reason I had mentioned about these top-heavy fluted pots, as beautiful as they are, they're a disaster for these. And I guess I'd like to put something down here, but then I won't be able to get the air and the water drainage. So I just have to be careful. And I have these fruit boxes I get from the farmers that I can put and it's also good to transport them in. So, but if you do have that happen to you, no worries, it's not going to die. You just get it back in, make sure you get it right back into the soil, give it some water, pack it in, and she will come right back. But you can see this one has of course it has all the colors, but it has a lot of the white in center. So we got a white pot. So you can see these are really going well. And now they're in the pots, and I just gave them some Miracle Grow, and it's really gonna start to kick in. I just trimmed this Saturn rings, and I know this is actually a regular Saturn. This is a regular Saturn. Remember, the Saturn rings is right here. You can see how it's much wider as opposed to the a little less. You got a little more of the burgundy and less green. Saturn rings. And here's a nice Defiance red pot. Well, it's really an orange pot, orange red. That's orange. I'm a little colorblind. No, that is orange. It looks but it's a beautiful Defiance Coleus. Again, these ovals, but again they're kind of flimsy in the middle. But I have so many of them, I mentioned. So I'll put 2 or 3 in a pot, and they'll fill out. They will fill out. At this point now, I'm trimming everything because again, I start selling my Coleus the end of June through September. But of course, I want people to have them before September. You know, you could still keep these indoors, but they really do. Much of the growth occurs over the next month or so. It really starts to kick in once they're in these pots and they're fertilized, trimmed, fertilized, watered. It does wonders. Rain, so I'll put these out again if I know we're getting a light rain overnight, or if it's one of those, as I had mentioned before, those nights. I'll get these outside on that little green, on that gray deck there, and I'll put these all outside, and it does wonders. So if you got a Coleus in a pot, indoor pot, and you get one of those nights where it's raining lightly, not heavy thunderstorms or anything like that, you know what I mean, get it outside, get that rain. There's nothing better than natural rain. Really does. As long as your pot's drained, and all your pots should be well drained, you're going to do fine. So there you go. It's another example of a real sort of an odd trim. I argue I can really maybe cut this one here, but I wanted to keep it just to get an idea of what the color is. But I trimmed this last week, so you can see that the undergrowth is really coming in. So I'm going to probably get rid of that. This was getting a little washed out, so maybe a little bit too much water. And again, every Coleus is a little different. Some of them will react differently, and you just go by each one. Some of them maybe do a little better, more light, or may need more light, so I'll move things around in here. Again, that's just something I do through experience. And you know what? I'm here every single day. I spend a few hours every single day in here. And what happens is after about 2-3 weeks, I get to know every one of these plants. Every single one of these plants, I know what's going on with them. All 500-600 of them, every single one I know. Every one, what's going on, where I moved it to, where I moved it from. Here's your Terrania, another one of those beautiful. I have them up top, as I mentioned. This is again how I organize my greenhouse. All those Terranias starting to come in and not blossom yet. There we go. There's a white coming in. So again, I have these up top, so they get the maximum amount of light. Again, there's jitters. See how they're filling out really nicely? Love these fluted pots. Some smaller ones. I just trimmed them. You can see I trimmed the top center. Trim the top centers. And you got that undergrowth coming in. So you can argue I'm going to cut these here. This one I already did. Not too much. Not any. I don't really have any undergrowth coming in, so I may trim one or two of those just to jump start it. Lots of beautiful color this year. I know I'm saying it over and over, but there we go. Undergrowth. So we just trimmed a little on the top there. It's amazing. I mean, if you're following along, you know the last video I shot. A lot of these weren't as they really within a week they just, it's like the fuse is lit. And I always did mention that if you're following along. I know I've mentioned that the magic really happens once you get into the greenhouse and the weather starts to turn like it is now. It really makes a big difference. Really beautiful. I love these. Is like a purple. It's a purple, a blue. Here's the blue and purple. I love the blue. I love the fluted pots. I didn't want to take them all at the dollar store, so I took a little every week. I always made sure I left some for the customers. I feel bad. I used to order them direct, but you can no longer order direct from Dollar General. So I'd order 50 or 100. Okay, so yeah, you can see all that undergrowth. Let's see here, make sure we get a good shot. See all that undergrowth coming in. See how I just trimmed the top center here. You can argue these two here. You trim the bottom pieces here. Just make sure it's at this is pretty much a good height. So I say, okay, this is the height I want it at, and I want to get that bottom growth coming in, and then from there, unless I sell it, I'll just keep trimming it. See, this one here is a little leggy. This isn't really the healthiest right now, so we're keeping an eye on it. Kind of curling up. Might be because these colossal marbles don't, they're not crazy about sun, so it's perhaps because it's there, but I'm trying to jump start that. So you can see I just trimmed a lot of the growth, so it's almost like a Coleus tree. As you can see, we got the fan going on the outside blowing in. It's about 75 outside, so it's a very comfortable 80 in here. It's a nice breeze, and that's really what makes a difference. All the different things that I'm showing you, the trimming, the fertilizing, the oxygen, the air movement, it all contributes to, it's just all the ingredients that you need to grow beautiful, beautiful Coleus. It's not difficult at all. Just need to put a little bit of attention and effort in, and just jot down summarize a few of these points that I mention over and over and over, and just make a sort of a little itinerary for yourself to make sure. And there's just a green. That's actually a Saturn, but it kind of, they mutate a little, so we'll keep that in. That's a green. And there's a Saturn also. And you could argue we can cut these. I would cut these, which I will. I already cut the tops. This is really filling in nicely. And this really needs to be put into a larger pot. This plant at this point has a nice strong stem. This needs to go into a bigger pot, which I will do. There's Darth Vader. Let's get that Darth Vader out here. It's another beautiful Darth Vader. Well, it's not a beautiful. This isn't a beautiful. Coleus, Darth Vader Coleuses aren't beautiful. But they are unique. Fishnet. You can see it trimmed. There's a colossal marble and a watermelon. And there's like a little jitters that kind of snuck in there. You got the undergrowth coming in. Terrania and a watermelon. It's a nice little blue. I try to get different type of pots. So this one I'm gonna bring outside. These really need to be out more in the sunlight. So let's bring this one outside. Just some time. And we have another Terrania inside we need to bring out. Got a few Terranias up here. Let's get these outside. We're going to keep an eye on it because remember these colossal marbles aren't that fond of direct sun. So we're going to keep an eye on it, but I want to get these Terranias. I want to give them a good shot of sun. But the pots are well drained. Just gave them a good watering. So we got plenty of moisture. We don't have to really worry about droop. Really leggy Coleus. So all I'm going to do is just trim the very top here. This is really just greenery. These are just greens. There's a leaf there. Again, this was that Defiance that I just trimmed. That's going to come in. Got all that undergrowth coming in. See that undergrowth is really going to start to accelerate now. And here's another one. This is just really a maintenance trim. This one's doing okay, but we don't really need this hanging over. It's bringing the plant down. A couple of large ones, the opposite side, just to kind of give it some symmetry. It's like an older leaf that's sort of damaged. There's no real method to my madness sometimes. It's just, I'm sort of Michelangelo in it here. I'm just sort of sculpting my Coleus. And that kind of leaned over from the weight of it, or it might have just been squashed in the pot. So these are kind of leaning over, so I do what I can to help it. Really maintenance. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim. Get rid of that older stuff. We got two large here. This is a jitters. These really growing like mad. So that one I already trimmed. So you get the idea. See how the shadows. Sorry for the shadowing if it's not coming out too well, but you get the idea. And that's all you have to do. Just maintain your Coleus that way. See some leaves that are kind of bringing it down, trim them, decide what length you want it in. And I'm going to go through each one of these. I did a lot of them. Now, those colossal marbles, you can see how tall they are, but they got pretty good sized stems. So I may cut the top two to get that bottom growth. I know, it's difficult. I know, I feel your pain, It's tough, especially cutting these beautiful, beautiful leaves, but it's a must do. You need to do this. So push those feelings down, let them go, and be comforted in the fact that this will pay off in no time. So this little bit of trimming here, the pain to see these beautiful leaves go down on the ground will pay off within a week or two. You will see growth come in and your plants will thank you for it, and you'll thank yourself for it too, because it really makes a difference. So, all right, so this one here is a real disaster. Look at this. I mean, look at all that growth coming in. So we're gonna really, I'll start in the different levels. I'll start the very top. We'll see how it goes from there, and then I'll make my decision next here. I'm gonna take this one off because it's kind of weighing it down, and we'll get rid of these two down here. Again, make sure you get anything dead in the soil. And again, this is to keep the height down. You know what? I'm just gonna, and I know what these are. Just for, and again, I make my decisions for a lot of reasons. Really for I want to make sure my trays are airy. I don't want my plants overflowing. I don't want them all crammed. So I want to air them out, and I go from there. So you can see we got room here. This one's doing really well, but got plenty. These grow like mad, so I'm going to take these two up top here. These I love these. These are like a scarlet Kong. They really grow. You can see lots of growth coming in. They really explode. They don't need any trimming really, but for the sake of keeping the trays from being too crowded, we're going to trim. All right, I'm going to trim these two larger top, and that'll keep those going. Now once I'm done here, all right, so you get the idea. Just going through all of, that I'm going to probably trim the very two top new ones coming in. This is a beautiful, I'm going to pot this one today. That's beautiful. I love that one. So we're going to get that potted up. So I'm going to go through everything I have here. And I gave them fertilizer, water fertilizer, doing my trimming today. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to organize. I started already. I'm going to organize them into types and sizes, because I don't want these little guys mixed in here getting all, I mean, I'm trimming them, yes, but we don't want these little guys to have all this overbearing large leaves cutting out the light. So this is really how you can do it. Just take the principles that I'm showing you and apply them to your plants, whether you have 2 or 20. And it pays off early. Do this now, and it pays off. And you don't have to keep doing it. And then as the summer progresses, and you can see right here, this one needs trimming. As the summer progresses, you still do this, but on a smaller scale. You're just going to trim to keep your pot the height you want it. Any insect damage, deal with that. See these colossal marbles, they just want to keep growing. See, this is kind of reaching over, it's forcing this little guy over, so we're gonna cut the top there. Let me get rid of this here, because these really grow. Let's get rid of those, because we got look at all that undergrowth coming in. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make it even. So we got an even Steven. This has lots of room now. This has plenty of undergrowth coming in. It's a happy plant. Get rid of that one there, and try to make sure you get any kind of organic waste out of your soil. That's it. Okay, so we're done. I'm about 95% done with all my potting. Again, I have some hanging baskets I'm waiting for, but this is about it. At this point now, I have about another 2 weeks till the farmers market starts. Again, these trays of pots, the little nursery pots, I'll bring these and offer them for people who want to plant their own Coleus in the ground. But here we are. Lots of ventilation, a lot of air, beautiful day today. So we got everything trimmed, and it's again, it's a maintenance issue. Every week or so, I come in here every day, as I mentioned. But as I see things, I'll trim. That's how I keep on top of things. These we have to make a decision on. We need to get these into larger pots. We'll do that. Well, as you can see, we're all set to go. Everywhere you look. All right, everybody. I hope this update helps. This is your very, very important step here in keeping your Coleus, getting them really started for the season, into pots, trimming, fertilizing, and just basic maintenance. Check them every day. Do a little every day, and it'll pay back. You'll be rewarded with a beautiful, beautiful Coleus. So, all right, thanks for watching again. Jim's Coleus. So Coleus, enjoy this beautiful fish net. And any questions or comments, you know where to find me. Jim's Coleus right here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Shoot me a message. Instagram, I get a number of questions on my Instagram channel. If I don't get back to you in a day or so, don't think that I'm not I don't see it or anything. Of course, if 4 or 5 days go by, shoot me another message, but I try to get to everything. I get an awful lot of correspondence, which I'm very humbled and grateful for, so thank you very much. But please, any questions, comments, please leave them below or on Instagram. Thanks for watching. Jim's Coleus. We'll do another update in a week or so. Take care, everybody. Have a great week ahead.